Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, Misadventures of Black Damsels.
Yes.
Where we have frank and authentic conversations about everything adulting, 30s, womanhood, soft life, wait a king, and you know, moss. Welcome back to our subscribers, our old subscribers and new subscribers. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you. And as usual, we are sitting with our lovely hosts. The first being the queen, Larato, reformed Mbogoto.
Bumi, Miss Whatever.
Hey guys, this is Azam, your voice of reason.
In today's episode, we are delving into therapy, self-healing, emotional work that has to do with the ultimate mental healing or healing of your mental space. So, ni ready?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
So, first things first. What is your love language?
Words of affirmation. Definitely words of affirmation and acts of service.
To our viewers who don't know what love languages are and words of affirmation and things like that.
Okay, so words of affirmation is someone that would basically constantly reassure you, you know, you're in my life, I love you, you're cared for, you're important, or someone who's just there to remind you of things that you forget about yourself, you know, like you're really good at doing this, you're really caring, that type of thing would be what I would consider words of affirmation. And then acts of service is, you know, you see I need something, or you are paying attention to what I say to you and you show up, and maybe I said I need a laptop and you buy me a laptop. You know, that's your act of service. Or you see that I'm struggling, you know, maybe with, I don't know, something around the house, like cleaning the house is too difficult for me, you get me a vacuum cleaner.
So someone who shows up, basically.
Yeah, showing up, and your showing up is a testament to your paying attention. It's not like something that I have to like explicitly say, hey, I need this. But when you move with me and you see, oh, she really needs something, and then you just provide it for me. Yeah, that's...
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, for me, first and foremost, acts of service. Yeah, other things. Yeah, but I think also very fair is that it's because I grew up to that kind of space.
Yeah.
That's how love was expressed to me. So acts of service for sure. For sure. And also because I don't know how to ask, especially ask for help. Like I don't believe in asking for help. So I do believe in like people showing up without me like explicitly requiring it. So acts of services, like everything that's people doing things that can serve me, to show me that they love me or they care for me. Yeah, that is for me my love language. And I'm starting to realize maybe gifts. Yeah, like receiving gifts is also quite, not big gifts, but like I like
thoughtful
to receive
gifts. Yeah.
No, they don't have to be thoughtful either. They can be like thoughtless.
Yeah, like I just
me.
want to give you this because
yeah, like I like, I think
it.
that for me is like a conversation around like you're catering to me.
So it's kind of tied into acts of service in a way.
It is. I don't want to talk about like other things that I spoke about in a previous episode, so I don't sound redundant. But I just like that kind of vibe.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know. Is it possible to have or to find little pieces of yourself in each area of love language?
Yeah, absolutely. But you have dominant love languages.
I think my dominant one would be physical touch. I just love being affection. I love affection. That is my biggest, and physical touch means obviously being touched all the time. It doesn't have to be in a sexual way. There are other non-sexual kinds of ways of showing this love language. It can just be someone maybe tugging at your ears, whatever. It can be cuddling, be watching a movie, things like that. It can be high-fiving, simple things like that. For me, I think I enjoy being with someone. And like, I didn't realize it until I was dating this other guy last year. And that guy was touchy. I thought I was touchy. That guy, every minute we'd be sitting and he'd be playing with my toes, just do it. And I was like, wow, I actually like this, So yeah, that's my thing. And words of affirmation as well, because it's very important to be affirmed. But they're not, for me, I think it's more of not someone telling me, ooh, you are so special or you are so beautiful thing. Like, I think for me it would be more of someone just telling me that they love me, someone saying words that actually make me feel that I am loved, so that's another thing. And acts of service, because I'm super lazy. And
act of service.
So yeah, serve me. I am your queen. Yes. So the next question is attachment styles.
I wanted to ask, what are attachment styles? Because I was just
confused.
Well, it's basically how you attach to people around you. So, like the ideal attachment style is secure attachment.
Okay.
That means where another person is concerned and your relationship with that person is concerned, you feel secure about how you relate with them. So it's like with young kids, they like, you find some of them are very anxious. Like when their parent leaves, they start to be frantic and yell and scream, want their mothers back or whatever. Those kids are anxious. And then you find secure kids who are like, my mom is gonna come back, I know that. And then you find avoidant one who are like, whether she comes back or not, let me just move on with my life.
Yeah.
But we carry those throughout our lives. And for a lot of the time, they are informed by our childhood experiences with our initial caregivers, our primary caregivers. And those experiences inform how we attach in romantic relationships in the future, and how we attach to jobs and things like that. So it's something that is obviously like primitive, like starts from when you're a kid and you grow with it, and your everyday experiences will inform how you further attach and therefore your style.
Yes.
I think I'm anxious. I think I get anxious. And I don't think I knew this until you guys left my house. And then, when you saw me next, I was...
You were what?
Yay!
You were what?
A lot.
Oh, come on.
No. I think she was very emotional too.
Yes, like I was...
Like everything was an emotional attack. Like
I was
you
not
guys,
okay.
we were you guys, and not like individual pieces.
I was
like
not okay.
When they saw, as them when they saw,
So,
it was
yeah, I didn't realize that because I've always managed to be avoidant.
Exactly.
I've always been the avoidant, like with family, with friends, like you're here, you're not. I'm always here, you know. But then when we stayed together for 2 months and then you guys left, I was like, Agwande, me. Like I have no one to bounce her off to, and also me, I've got no one to interact with, and then I was stuck with my feelings, and you know everyone is now going back to their normal lives, and I was just not dealing. I went, and so I think now I do have anxious attachments, and actually since then I get anxious like with like small things. I remember my mom had told me that she's going to a new church.
Okay.
Yeah, she told me, oh, I'm going to my new church. Yo, I got so upset, like, you have a new church. Why didn't you tell me you have a new church? You know, I'm supposed to know everything. Now I don't. So, like, are you doing your own thing without telling me? Now I don't know. Now I'm sad. No one is telling me anything. Everyone is living their own life. I'm just, nobody is involving me. You know, like, I just felt like, you have a new church. Like, why didn't you tell me? So, yeah.
When you're used to being the person who's like, yo, do your life.
Yes, you know, exactly. I'm the one who's like, you don't have to. But now I'm like, dog.
Yeah.
But I don't voice it. And that's another thing. Like, I'm just like, people are living their lives, you know.
Yeah, because Nami, I'm kind of, the first time that I'm
I
hearing
know,
this, I'm
right?
like,
I know.
what?
But she was like a very overt, explicit mess. Like, I was very confused by her emotions.
Or maybe because Mina, like I'm oblivious to like subtleties if they're not spoken out. Like,
But I said it.
I think also you eventually said it, but like leading up to that, you were very passive aggressive, and like I remember saying this to you. There's no us against you. Like, the world is not ganging up against you.
I was like,
Everybody is dealing with the same shit. And just take it as like you don't like it. Okay, this thing happened to you, but it's not like the world now conspiring. Hey, world, come, boomy. No. And I remember you like were viewing everything from that perspective.
August, guys.
I think I also remember. Thing is, we lived together for 2 months. 2 months might seem like a very short space of time, and those 2 months flew by very quickly.
But we also didn't leave each other in those 2 months.
At
We
all.
were every day.
Yes,
we were
at
in each
all.
other's. Like, I remember the first couple of nights. I even told you guys I couldn't sleep in my own bed because I was used to sleeping on the floor or on the couch, or you know. So I'd come home and I just sleep on the couch, not one, because it felt like such a foreign thing now. And I just also missed that space.
I think you guys just said your anxiety was up after that, but that's about as much as it was for me. It was like, because I think for me, because it was my space.
Yeah, and when
that was
people leave
occupied.
you,
So
it
now
feels
like it's
emptier.
quiet,
Yes.
empty. It's just me and Agwande. Like the routines that we had, I must now, you know, exercise by myself, figure out what to eat by myself, because we had like menu.
And
We
then
had so
we
much
learned.
structure. We had a lot of structure, and then now I'm like, ish. Then I started ordering food.
Yeah. What about you, Azam?
I'm anxious avoidant.
What is anxious avoidant?
So like I don't have a particularly secure attachment style. And anxious avoidant, like there's an underlying, like a very strong underlying anxiety around my attachment. But also I think the enactment of the way I attach can be avoidant. Like when I am like in relation with someone or something, it can appear as like you are avoiding. Yeah. And like for me it's also like a very difficult balance, because like once I'm aware, my thing is like I'm also like I'm a great survivor. Like once I'm aware that this one is gonna give me problems, I go straight into survival mode. And whatever you say or do,
you don't take it.
I'm just like trying to cover number one. So like I think I initially am very anxious, but then I grow very avoidant as a protective barrier.
That's very weird because you are such a secure space for many people. Well, at least for me. And for you to be a secure space for the next person, but also experience that kind of attachment, like avoidant and anxious, is like, what's the word?
Parallel.
Paradoxical.
Contrast.
Yeah, it's contrast because I feel like I'm very secure with you. Like I can come to you with anything and everything.
But the thing is, with what I learned about Azam has this calm facade that she portrays. She could be going through the shittiest shit.
You always say shit like that, bro.
And you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. Uso Tulati do. Azam goes through a lot.
That's, I think, the
And
avoidance
she
part
will
of
distance. But then if you call her, she will now come laying her problems at your feet. You know? Because now that's also how you are. You are free to voice note, yo guys, you know, today, this, the slightest thing, you can talk about it. Whereas for her, she's not forthcoming. Like
I'm
that.
definitely not forthcoming. I think then that's the avoidant part. And that's why I said earlier that like I don't know how to ask for help. So even like coming in and like being like, yo guys, you need to hear me out. I'm just like I need to find a space where there's silence and just throw my ndaba there. And then if it's heard, it's heard. If it's not, it's not.
Fair enough, I guess. Yeah.
Me, I'm anxious preoccupied. So anxious preoccupied is the direct opposite of Azam, where I am coming from a space of anxiety, but then instead of being avoidant, I now focus my all on you, and because I'm focusing on you, I'm kind of like picking the nitty gritties, overthinking, creating things that aren't even there, and then I'm driving myself crazy. So it's where I would like now be obsessively maybe checking on your WhatsApp, your last scene. Yeah, checking. And but then also I can just chill. Even after checking, chill and sit in my anxiety. But so as to not come across as being crazy, because we do get, those not attacks, but then basically we do get told that, oh no, you are too clingy, oh, you are nagging. Those words have been used so much. They've been used so much.
You're annoying.
You are dramatic. So I've kind of had to learn to
stick up your ass,
bruh. I've kind of had to learn to, even with my preoccupation, to sit in it. Even if maybe you don't call me today, or if nothing happens today, I don't hear a word from you, believe I am preoccupied, I'm stressing. But then I won't call you. Tomorrow you will call me, I'll be chilled like a cucumber. acting like nothing happened, but then all the while
You
probably
didn't
I
sleep.
even sleep. Yes. So yeah, I mean, I guess it also ties into what you were saying earlier on as you were describing what attachment styles are. When you were saying that they stem from childhood, and for me, the anxious, preoccupied comes from maybe feelings of neglect, right? Where as a child you kind of feel like you're not getting the love that you should have been given, or you should be given at that point. So therefore you like always performing in order to receive this attention that should be naturally given to you. And if maybe in a pure state where you are not performing, you are ignored, now you start wondering, okay, what can I do
to bring back
that attention,
the good attention.
And even it can be negative attention as well, because that's where you start thriving. Attention is attention. You start thriving on drama, right? In relationships, because
it gives the attention.
Exactly.
So you're always stirring things up so that there's a conversation.
Yes.
Like there's always some sort of exchange happening.
Right.
Silence makes you nervous.
Yes.
Right. And I'd rather have any kind of noise happening. But just don't be quiet.
Because that quiet space gives me a chance to be preoccupied.
Build pictures and scenarios. I get it. For me, I'm thinking growing up, I had a bit of both. My mom was very securing. She's always there, so when you don't doubt the love and, and then my dad was very nonchalant about many things and whatnot. And he was the that's where I get my act of service desires, because my dad is that person who will always just do something that when they see you start singing a song, he'll buy you that CD, or if he sees you start writing a lot, he'll buy you books, but then I became avoidant. I think maybe I became avoidant because it's that thing of like my friends and my family, the love is there, it's always there, from them. I don't have to fuss over it, prove it, reinforce it or whatever. It's there. It's there. Like I don't have to chase for it or have to. And like I will openly give my love. I have bouts of moments where I feel like I haven't told people that I love them. I must tell everyone that I love them. They mustn't forget and stuff like that. But on a general,
why do you think you didn't default to a more secure attachment style?
I don't know. Because I know for my mom, like for quite a long time as well, in my younger days. Imagine. I'm only 13. I was that secure person. I was that friend, like, hi, you didn't tell me. Oh, like I always wanted to make sure like my friendships are like my friendships. And I think that's why my issue has always been I have too many friends.
Do you not think that was insecurity, that you had too many friends? Because like a secure person, wouldn't
they
be so
with
curious
themselves
about not checking in on their friends on like one occasion.
They know that the love is
still there.
It exists without
so they don't
them
have to reinforce.
Yes.
I guess at the time that might have been the case, because I remember there was a time, I think honors year, and I was my first experience of depression, my first time of just going in the dark hole, and I was having a conversation with my brother, and he was asking me like, what's wrong with me? And I'm like, making everyone happy isn't making me happy. And then he was like, yo, just have a blunt.
Hey, takes away all the troubles.
He was like, hey, just come home, we'll just blow it up. And but like I remember, I'll never forget my words to him saying like, making everyone happy is not making me happy. And that's probably part of what you're saying, is where like I had to always want to make everyone happy, all my friends like me, you know, and stuff like that. But like me,
and you're pouring into probably empty cups. You pour yourself out, and you're not getting
from
that
an
full.
empty place.
And then now in my adult self,
You what?
I'm avoidant, I'm nonchalant.
Do you think it's daddy issues?
I know daddy issues.
Are they real?
Well, I think they are real, but I feel like as far as my relationship with my father, I did my work there, and I've resolved and I understand everything that happened, why it happened, and so I made peace with many things when it comes to my dad. Like today, I can't say I've got daddy issues. Maybe at some point I did, but like no, I know exactly what was going on and why everything happened. So I'm not sure these transitions.
I think issues exist. I think mommy issues exist, daddy issues exist, work issues exist. I think issues exist, and we can say daddy issues because daddies are supposed to be like those initial caregivers, and they need to be there like in your early years, childhood years, and like trauma and all of those things start at that stage. So we can attach it to daddy issues because mommies are omnipresent and ubiquitous. It's so unnecessary. Simple mothers, guys. Anyway, but I think issues exist. I think they can be as much daddy issues as they are mommy issues, as they are grandparent issues. Because
Or as there are social issues.
true.
Like things that you just pick up from the streets.
Yes. And I think even before you get to the street, just like at home, like your initial environment, some of us are raised by our grandparents as well in that same space, or our siblings. You know, like if you're raised by like 3 older siblings, you know you're not your mother's child. Like at that point, you're your sibling's kid because they spend more time with you. And you grow up and say, instead of saying mama, you know. So because I think issues exist, and I think they are, if we have to extend them beyond daddy, they are family issues or
Generational
loved one
issues.
issues. And just like daddy can be present and absent, mommy.
Exactly.
I think those are the issues. We just like don't obviously put as much condemnation on mom as we would on dad.
Yeah, facts.
Because of just the way society is structured and the way we're supposed to view mothers and revere mothers. But I think everyone in our lives can play an equally problematic role and in shaping our attachment styles and the way we receive and understand or expect love.
Totally.
Sorry.
What's going on?
There's a fly. Okay, continue.
So now, having spoken on those issues, right? Clearly, from our formative years, there are issues that we've grown up with, right? Whether those issues were self-inflicted or we were a product of our own, or like the environment in which we grew up. What do you think of therapy? Have you gone to therapy? Is therapy for mad people? Like, how do you, in your own head, like, define or debunk the myth of therapy only being for crazy people?
Yes, I've been through therapy, and I am for therapy. I think when I first started allowing myself to afford myself the services of mental health, I started with like a life coach, and that was like a stepping stone to me then going up and saying, okay, maybe I need therapy, because the life coach is like basically someone who will give you some tools, maybe some mindfulness, give you some activities to do, write about this week we're doing this, next week we're doing this, someone who's gonna hold you accountable for, whatever issues you're coming to them with. But then that didn't really address the issues that I needed to address at the time. But it definitely helped me get through week to week to week by week by week. And then I moved up to therapy, and that's when I got to like answer the most difficult questions I've ever had to answer in my whole entire life, and get so fucking uncomfortable with my own self. Like when you have to like strip yourself completely naked and call yourself name by name by name, experience by experience by experience, why by why, it like everything. And as much as it was very difficult, very uncomfortable, I had the utmost willingness, because I knew I needed it. I needed it, if not for me, for my child. And I think that that's the one thing that pushed me the most, is when I was seeing myself just like not being of the best service to my child. And I was like, I need to fix this. So to this day, I still hold those conversations dear to my heart that I had with my therapist. To this day, I'm very self-aware. I think I'm self-aware around the clock, even in my sleep, of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and even when I allow myself to react without, pulling myself towards myself, later on I'm able to go back and say, you know what, in that moment I probably shouldn't have acted that way, please, I'm sorry, or whatever. Like I'm able to take criticism, which is something that I don't think I was ever able to take. I always just thought when someone is coming to me with any kind of criticism or anything, like calling me out, basically they were against me, and they were my enemy, and all of that. So yeah, therapy has helped me articulate myself better, better express myself, better understand all my relationships, better understand all my friends, all my family, and not take things to heart, but more so understand that she's an individual, I'm an individual, and they also go through their own things, they have their own way of doing their things, and it will not always be my way, and it's okay. It's not a right way or wrong way, it's someone else's way. That's it, point back and simple. So yeah, therapy
is a thumbs up.
Like and subscribe.
Yes.
I grew up with my mother. She's so tiring in this regard, because she's always been obsessed with mental health. Like, we were born, she was reading books, taking every child, sister's child, brother's child, counseling, oh my goodness, like my mom, and trying to be woke, annoying.
First generation of woke.
Whoa! And like, she just like wanted the healthiest space for everyone. So even when we didn't have anything, we were sorting help. Guys, like, you have no idea like how upset my mom was with just making sure that we were right. And I mean, obviously, I think in those days also, she didn't have all the information to help her understand also these kinds of things that we're looking to be about. So we were thrust into therapy. I mean, we're grateful for it for the most part, because it did help us understand a lot of ourselves and like also manage. But like, I grew up we were going to therapy. The youngest person to go to therapy was my brother. He started at 3. My sister started at 5 or 6. I was obviously much older, but I was a good and quiet child, so I was never raising, and then
Great flags.
yeah, Ulizo, who were the same age, him and I, he was in therapy because of my mom at like 7 or whatever. We were like always looking for specialists or trying to let's find the best for these kids. So yeah, I grew up literally in therapy. More so like in my high school varsity years. I spent more time there. But like I don't think therapy is a bad thing. I don't think it's also like the healer or the end and all.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I think it's a great tool. I think actually the way I hear or observe people speak of it, I think it's slightly overrated in some regards. But I think it's like an important tool for the people who need it, and most people do need it. But also I think I can also say that like not all therapy is good therapy. Yeah, and I think I can judge this from my personal experiences, as well as like, for example, my younger sister was just telling me, maybe this year actually, that her and a therapist just like it's not happening because it's just not serving her.
It's not a good match.
Right. And I think like those things are not spoken about as much.
Yeah.
Where the idea of therapy is concerned. But I think it is a good tool indeed. I don't think everyone should be in therapy. Like I think more than that, everyone should be doing work.
I agree.
And sometimes work doesn't require the therapy. It just requires the intentionality and wanting.
Thank you.
Self-awareness as well.
Thank you. The intention. I feel like when you are just very determined to resolve whatever issue you are having mentally at the time, you will read the books you need to read, you will do the meditation, the yoga, the exercise, because these are also forms of therapy. Just not like you're sitting in a couch and talking to someone who's like a psychologist and certified whatnot. And like you're saying, sometimes you just don't find your match with therapy. That's something that people, I think, just feel like you just wake up one day, you go to a doctor and you have someone to talk to. Some people just you don't relate to.
It's a trial and error.
It's a trial and error. And I remember when we were exploring the topic of like, therapy in one of our ladies groups, that's something that used to come up, like, is this therapist a person of color? Do they have kids? Because you want to have a therapist that will hear what you're saying and understand what you're saying, and then help you see perspective from that point of view, versus if it's just a single male person and now they must help you figure out your life, and I'm a single mother,
For me, my first experience with therapy was I was 13, and this was right after my mom had passed away, and her company, as one of the death benefits, would provide the services of a therapist if the person who died had dependents, small kids, right? And I'd even the only thing I enjoyed about that experience was the fact that I could leave school early. But then I had to go see this white woman, and she would be asking, I think she would ask straight off the bat, what's your problem?
Yeah.
what is wrong? And
You're 13.
I'm 13. Yes, someone just died. Oh, so how do you feel about? I feel like her manner of approach was just very aggressive,
blunt.
It wasn't
And dumb.
Yeah, man.
I mean, if she's asking you what's wrong, she could say this boy doesn't like me. My friends at school.
There's a lot.
You're 13.
You know?
I
So
think
many
she's expecting
things.
you to come on with her demographic kind of problems. When your
Gosh,
shit is realer than that.
bruh, like, and she'd ask, "Are you okay?" I'm fine. So my response to the entirety of her questions was, "I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine." I think I went there for like 2 or 3 sessions, and then she told my grandmother that, no, this person is not willing to open up, so I suggest she doesn't come back anymore. So it kind of created this impression for me for therapy or with therapy as being something that is just very overtly aggressive, that is very intrusive, where I should be going there to lie about how I'm feeling,
Performative.
you know, instead of being there to just tell my real story as to what's going on in my life. But then
So careless.
years later, it was very careless. Years later, I think it was a couple of years ago, I was like, man, let me get into therapy because, you know, I do a lot of holistic things, like I meditate, I do yoga, I do body chakra things. I do a lot of things. But then I kind of felt like, you know what, there's this, as much as I may be doing all of these things, there's still this inner child that I kind of haven't tapped into. This child who's just crouching in a corner within the deep, darkest of darkness in, you know, my psyche or subconscious mind, who's just really crying out. And clearly, because this child is crying out, I'm acting out in ways that I don't even want to be acting out anymore. So I found a therapist, and as you were saying, that I wanted a black therapist first and foremost, and she had to be a woman. Found a therapist in South Africa. We were doing online sessions, and you know, I think also the mistake probably that I made was I was expecting her to tell me what your problem is from the jump. To say, okay, no, this and this happened in your life, so just because that happened, as a result, it means this is what's wrong with you. I was looking for a diagnosis, whereas therapy should not be, it's a long-term thing. You're not looking to be diagnosed with a specific ailment or what, and then get your medicine and then you off, right? It's years of therapy. And as much as I enjoyed my conversations with her, and I told you this the last time, that she kind of felt like she was a friend, you know? It's like, mfonele nina, and I'm on the phone and I'm complaining, and then afterwards, sharp, bye.
Yeah.
I didn't
And you're
feel
paying.
like, bruh, I didn't feel like I was getting the tools. As Azan was saying, that therapy is a tool. I wasn't getting the tools that I needed to, okay, what, now that I've divulged everything that's happening in my life, after this call ends, this is what you do. And that's what I wanted. And I was not going to be, paying for sessions for a friend, for a friendly conversation.
No, definitely. I get it.
I have those.
You know, I can get it for free.
Yeah, like
And it won't be confined to an hour. I can have like a 7-hour
whole
session.
And get a
Yeah.
Yana feedback.
Yeah.
At least we can tell you that you do
like,
AP.
yeah,
Dude,
that's
dude.
true.
So I kind of felt like, no, this is probably not the right match. Maybe I should just chill a bit and just see if the things that I usually do that are part of my routine will actually help. But I do want to get back into therapy because I think there are things that I cannot access. I need someone who will actually pull out things that maybe I'm not even aware of, you know.
You should call my therapist.
She's Polish.
Yeah.
Yo, but she came through for a lot of people, man.
First of all, being Miss Whatever, and this is a testament to me being Miss Whatever, because all these concerns that the ladies were coming up with, like, is she black? But I did not even ask those questions. I didn't ask those questions. I just thought, oh, she's recommended, and I went straight to her. And I guess it was by luck that she actually did the things. She's a single white woman. No baby, nothing, not married. And she will force you to dig and dig and dig and dig. She won't spoon feed you like you were expecting, but like she'll ask you, okay, so why did you do this? And then you say, oh no, I was angry. She's like, that's not reason enough. What exactly about this situation, step by step, at which point did your body and your feelings start reacting to this way? And then she'll tell you, this week, whenever that happens, I want you to pick up what your body does. The following week, you'll tell her, so I realize like my hands clench or like my heart beats fast or whatever and whatever. Now you're aware that when your body's reacting that way, it means you need to stop, observe yourself, and bring yourself towards yourself. And she will ask you the most difficult questions and tell you, if you can't say it to me, write it down, but in the most honest way, and read it to me in our next section. Yo, she asked me such real questions, guys. Yo, if I can, yo,